Hi guys! For our video today, we'll be talking about these Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm Powder Flush. So these are her blushes, and I'm very excited to try this out. Now, I actually purchased a gift set that had two big packaging here, and then they also came with two other miniature sizes. And I was actually very happy about that because at least when we purchased the Forever Flush kit from her, when I which I actually got during the Beautylish gift card event, it just gave me an opportunity to be able to play around with other colors. And this is the first blush that I've ever purchased from Danessa, and I said before that I wanted to purchase other blushes before I do a standalone video for this particular product. And I know it took a while, but I'm just so happy that I was able to do this now. And truthfully, I do love that I have smaller sizes here because, mind you, I don't think I will ever be able to finish one entire packaging like this. Okay, now since I have mixed everything here in my table, I don't know, I can't seem to remember which colors here belong to the Forever Flushed kit, but for sure I could say that this one I bought a long time ago, and I think this one came with the Blurring Balm Powder Universal, so this was like a set with that. And then one of the colors here in the smaller size packaging was a gift with purchase. So I cannot seem to remember now which one is which, but if you're interested to know, I'm gonna put a link down to my video to the haul video that I created for my Beautylish gift card event. Okay, so for our video, what we're going to do is we're going to be trying this out, and we'll see how well it registers on my skin, and maybe I can tell you guys some tips and tricks on how to play with these products successfully, because it took me quite a while to understand how to actually use this. Okay, so I have 6 colors with me right now, and these 4 colors that I have here on my hand at the moment are the ones that are currently in the permanent collection of Danessa Myricks. I checked it out before I actually did this video, and then the 2 others here are limited edition colors, so I think these 2 are the ones that are also included in the Forever Flushed kit released for the holiday season. Okay, now I have some on my fingertips now. So the formulation of this still has oxalate, so I think that's like a trademark of a number of products from Danessa, and I recently really enjoyed this formula when I actually played around with her Groundwork defining neutrals palette, and it gave me a nice idea on how to actually work with that formula of this. So anywho, the first color that I have here is the color It Girl, and it has a very nice poppy pink color. It's very vibrant, and it's also very pigmented, so it's a blue tone pink. And what I love about this oxalate formula is that you can actually also use this for your lips. So I have some lip balm on, so it's gonna come out as a tint now, and it's actually very easy to layer on the lips. And I think this dries down to a kind of powdery kind of a texture, but I haven't really experienced that much because I'm someone who has oily skin, and I actually kind of like the fact when the natural oils of my skin mix with cream formulations or liquid blushes, because it makes it just more radiant and not as matte, which I still actually prefer right now. And this has a slight scent to it. It's a little bit it's like you're in a lab or something like that. It's just a very nice minty cooling scent, which I actually don't mind. Okay, so anyway, this is how the color It Girl looks like on my lips. So it's actually very nice and very wearable. It's like a very bubblegum pink kind of a color. Okay, now I actually don't like to pick up a color from this straight from the pan because, again, I'm a makeup artist, so I would actually need to pick some up via a spatula and then transfer it either to a palette or at the back of my hand, then really spread the product like, you know, and also thin it out. And one thing that I do have to say is that you don't really have to use a ton of this to actually, like, you know, apply it on your face, because if you do, and if you're not, like, you know, someone who has very deep skin tones, this is like super pigmented, and it will just, like, you know, look where like you have way too much blush on your cheeks. And look at that, with a very, like, you know, light hint of the color. And I'm using the sheer buffer brush of Sonia G here, because I find that this is one of the brushes that actually helps me to deliver a very nice, like, you know, diffused amount of color on the cheeks, and also helps me to layer it. Look at that. So as the name implies, it's actually, like, you know, really flushes on your skin. Now, by the way, before doing this video, I already put on some, like, you know, makeup. I started off with the Lisa Eldridge Skin and Makeup Enhancing Mist, which I massaged into my skin. And after that, I applied 2 shades of the Kiko Milano Holiday Wonderlights Skin Glow Foundation. So I had 2 colors here. So I used the color Natural Beige all over my face, and then I used the color Honey, which is number 3, in my under eye area. So I'm sorry if I'm just inserting that now, I totally forgot. So what we're doing is we're applying all of these blushes on top of foundation, so that you just can see how it layers on. Okay, and look at that. It actually doesn't have any patchiness on my skin. It looks like it's flushing from within, which is actually nice. And I can already see it, like, you know, setting a little bit. It's already looking to be a little bit matte, but because the foundation from Kiko Milano is a little bit glowy, it doesn't look like, you know, flat at all. So they're working very well together. And I've also, like, you know, found out that if I, like, you know, go and apply way too much blush, so for example, let me, like, you know, really intensify it a bit. And I've actually found that this blush is actually very easy to layer with foundation. So I've already some foundation down, I have some blush on. And then now with a little bit of the foundation on this brush, I'm just going to tap it on top. And as you guys can see, like, you know, the color of the blush is toning down a little bit, and it's looking to be quite, like, you know, underpainted into my skin, and I actually like that. So this means that these blushes from Danessa are quite easy to work with. But then again, this also depends on what type of foundation that you're using, because this foundations from Kiko Milano, the holiday collection limited edition, is quite glowy, so that's why it's very easy to layer. So I don't know yet how these blushes will actually work if I'm using, like, a much more, like, you know, long wear foundation or a matte foundation. I'm sure, like, you know, the personality of these, like, you know, flushed blushes from Danessa will be quite different. Okay, all right, so this is how the color It Girl looks like on my skin as a blush and as a lipstick. All right, so now let's try this shade, and this is called Dancing Queen. And as you guys can see, it has a very nice berry tone to it, almost like the shade of wine. So I'm just picking up a little bit of the product here at the back of my hand, and again, I'm just, like, you know, really spreading the product and seeing it here at the back of my hand now. My gosh, if you're someone who has deeper skin tones than I do, this would be absolutely beautiful. Okay, so let me just buff out the brush here on a microfiber towel, and let's pick up some of the color now, and let's tap it into my skin. Ooh, that's still a lot, so let me remove any excess here at the back of my hand, and let's just, like, you know, lightly buff it in. Look at that. That's actually a very beautiful color. I love blush tones like this on my skin because I have olive undertones, and, like, you know, these wine stained blushes just, like, you know, really pop on my skin, and they just really, like, enhance my skin tone. Okay, and with the brush that I used earlier to apply the lighter shade of foundation, I'm just going to blend out the edges, tap it, and just like that, you have this very nice flush of color on the cheeks. Very pretty. Dancing Queen, this is a nice shade, I love it. No patchiness going on yet, which I'm so happy about. Nice, like, you know, vibrancy of color. Very beautiful. So if you're someone who has lighter skin than I do, I'm sure you can wear this, but just make sure to use like, you know, very light layers and build to the intensity that you can actually handle, okay? Alright, so this is how the color Dancing Queen looks like on my skin. Alright, so I've just reset my foundation. I removed all of the blushes on my cheeks using a makeup wipe. And this is from the brand Pure Derm Collagen. So this is a local brand, or I think it's made in Korea. Anyway, and then after that, I sprayed some Lisa Aldridge Skin and Makeup Enhancing Mist, patted it into my skin, and then I continued to layer on like some foundation, and then now we're good to go. So the next shade that I'm going to try is the color Jubilee here. So as you can see, it has a very warm tone to it. So to me it looks like orange, so maybe this might be a little bit terracotta-y kind of a color. I don't know if that's even a right word to use, which you'll find in, like, you know, your pots in the garden. But a very interesting shade. I think I have to be very careful with this, so let me just blend this out, like, you know, really thin it out. And maybe let me get a fluffier brush. So I am using the Chikuhodo F03 here. And let me... Ooh. I really just, like, you know, patted the brush head very lightly on my hand. And you still get a very strong impact of color. So again, a little goes a long way. And if you want to have a very diffused application, use a nice airy brush. But something that's also quite resilient. So that's why I was very attracted to using this brush, because, like, you know, fox hairs, they're quite resilient. They're also very soft and airy, and I find that sometimes they can actually also, like, you know, blend out, like, you know, these types of blush formulas. Okay. Look at that. That's a very nice color. It's adding a nice hint of warmth to my skin. It's actually making me look like I'm a little bit sunburned. So, but I don't think I could use this as a bronzer because it's just a little bit too orange though. Okay, so I have the Lisa Aldridge Elevated Glow Highlighter here. And let me just apply a little bit of that on top of the blush and the foundation mix. Ooh, I think that these combinations took a very nice, perfect, summery type of a blush. Look at that. And with the highlighter on, it's like, you know, really popping and giving the blush new dimension to the skin. I love it. Perfect. And, like, you know, if you have some blue eyeliner or even like blue eyeshadow, they would be, like, you know, very complementary to each other. Okay, so the next color that I have here is Rosé and Brunch. Now, I've already used this blush before and I kind of love it because it has a very nice, like, you know, mauvey tone to it. So, which is actually quite wearable. There you go, but it has a very nice pop of pink in it, so it's quite vibrant. Now, I actually used this in my review video for Danessa's Groundwork Defining Neutrals palette. So, if you want to see my review of that vlog, I'm gonna put a link down in the description box. And if you want to see this, like, you know, in combination with Danessa's Defining Neutrals palette, that's a good video to check out. So let me just show you guys how this looks like on my skin. And I'm using the F04 here, so it's a different brush design, but it still belongs to the Chikuhodo FO series. Look at the blush color. Very pretty. And let's blend that out, buff it out. Nice flush of color. And then let us just blend the edges now. Very beautiful. I love that. Okay, so this is how the color Rosé and Brunch looks like on my skin. And this is how the color Jubilee looks like on my skin. Alright, so the foundation has been set, and now it's time for us to try the 2 limited edition colors from the Forever Flushed kit, okay? So I'm gonna start with this shade first, and this is the color Spiced Latte. Look at that. Wow, look at the vinyl quality on the top of the product here. Okay, so I have a little bit of the product now here on my spatula. And then let me spread it. And this is the color of this blush. So it has a very browny tone to it, but it still has some warmth. It has like, you know, a spiciness to it. And it also has like a little bit of a orangey tone as well. So it's a little bit similar to the color Jubilee, but it's not as vibrant because Jubilee is quite orange. And maybe let's try using the classic base from the Fusion series of Sonia G. And I'm just picking up the product here at the back of my hand. And let me tap it. Okay, so to me, this is a very... Oh no, so I was thinking that it's going to be a natural colored blush to me, but it actually is not. It's not very vibrant looking, but I think if you are someone who has lighter skin than I do, this would, like, you know, work nicely with you. So let me intensify that a little bit. Okay, the color is coming out. Yeah, so I am not liking the shade on me. It's not my thing. So I think maybe the brown tone in it might be a little bit dulling for me. It's still a nice shade though. I truly appreciate it. Okay, let's blend that out a little bit. Buff out the edges. Okay, so this is how the color Spice Latte looks like on my skin. It's a very nice golden tone to it. Like almost a little bit bronzy. Maybe that might be a good idea when I would use this blush for. Like, you know, to be like a nice bronzier shade. Just to warm up my skin. So yeah, I think that's what I will use this color for. Alright, and the next color that I have here is Red Velvet. Look at that flush of color. I'm quite excited for this. And like, you know, truthfully, I do have to say red blushes are not my thing. But for you guys, let's try it out. Okay, look at how vibrant this red is. Truly beautiful. I think this is a perfect mix of, like, you know, blue and, like, you know, warmth in it. So it's a very nice neutral kind of a red. And I'm just gonna lightly pat the brush on the product here. Nice flush though. And let me just tap it in. Very nice shade. It kind of like reminds me of Exhibit A, but in a creamier formula. Now I think this color will work extremely well with a lot of skin tones. Maybe even if you're fair, medium, or like deep or extremely deep, this color will, like, you know, be perfect to use depending on how much product you actually pick up and build and layer on your skin. It's very nice. I kind of like that. And let me get the highlighter again from Lisa Eldridge, and let me just pick up a little bit of this with the brush that I use for the foundation. Apply it on top and blend it. I think this will be a nice, like, you know, summery kind of a blush together with that highlighter. Nice layer of color. I love that. It's also working very well with the undertones of my skin too. Like, you know, the red tone is just, like, you know, really popping out from my skin. And it's making me look quite fresh, I have to say. I was, like, you know, a little bit apprehensive that it make me look like, you know, burned, but it actually is not. It's making me look flushed quite nicely. I love that. Okay, so this is the color Red Velvet on my skin. Okay, what do you guys think? Which color do you think suits me best? Okay, so now I'm just layering the color Red Velvet on top of the color Spice Latte because I just had some split decision idea in my head that if I mix these two colors together, it's going to be a nice blend of color. And I am actually quite happy with that. So it just added a nice, like, you know, depth of tone to the blush here. And it's actually so much better. Like, you know, the warmth of the Spice Latte is just working quite nicely with this. It's made it quite vibrant, I do have to say. Very happy on how that actually, like, you know, developed. And with the highlighter again from Lisa, let me blend that into the blush, tap it, and then with the sheer buffer brush from Sonia G, just blend everything. And I have very nice, like, you know, smooth texture, no patchiness whatsoever, nice flush of color. I love it. I love the shade. I think this is, like, you know, one favorite color that I'm enjoying while doing this vlog. Okay, all right. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this and let me apply the color Rosé and Brunch again, because I think this is one of the colors that works well with me. Okay, so foundation has been reset. I have the color Rosé and Brunch here, and I'm going to be using the sheer buffer again from Sonia G. I actually also like buffed this out in a microfiber towel just to remove the color Red Velvet from it. And I'm strictly gonna buff it into my skin. Use very light layers. That's a very beautiful color. I love it. There's a very nice well-balanced pinkiness to it. And also some mauviness that just, like, you know, really works with the undertone of my skin. And then with the brush that I used for the foundation, blend out the edges. Very easy to layer. Pick up way too much. Okay, so let me just buff that out. Okay, fantastic. Look how easy it is to work with. Okay, but then again, do take note that I don't have any powder on my skin at the moment. But I also do think that, like, you know, once you powder, like, you know, the blushes, and, like, you know, if you want to intensify the color a little bit, it's gonna be quite easy to layer. Okay, look at that nice, like, you know, gentle flush of color. And then out of curiosity, I have the color Dancing Queen here at the back of my hand. And let me just pick up a little bit of this, and then just, like, maybe layer it on top, because it just gives a little bit of, like, you know, some vibrancy to the Rosé and Brunch. And just, like, you know, adds a nice, like, you know, depth of color, and also, like, it's a very nice customized color, I do have to say. So at least in me, like, you know, doing this, it will give you, like, you know, an idea on how it is easy to layer different colors from Danessa's Blurring Balm Powder Flushed. Look at that, very nice. And then let me add more of the highlighter from Lisa. Let me layer that, bring it into the blush, and then one final buff for blending. Lovely. Okay, so now it's time for some powder. Okay, so I have some of the Laura Mercier loose setting powder here in translucent, and I'm just loading it on this velour puff, also from Danessa. And I'm just pressing the powder in my under eye area, and also we can actually see how well the powder will apply on top of the blush, and also how well the blushes actually look like after you set your face. And I can still see that the color is still peeking through. It doesn't dull down. But now what I want to do is I want to apply a thin layer of the powder on top of the blush. I don't know, just to set it or something. Okay, that kind of like matted down the color a little bit, but the color is still there, which is fantastic. And if you feel that the powder has kind of like dulled down, like, you know, your blush, you can always get a little bit of the colors again and just layer on thinly, just to bring back that flush. Okay, look at that. These blushes from Danessa were very easy to use, very easy to blend, and they actually work quite nicely with me today. I was actually quite surprised with that. Because again, as I've said early in the video, the first time I tried this, I was like, oh my god, how do you use this? You know, I picked up way too much product, I applied way too much product, and like, you know, I had too much of the product on my face. But now I've gotten the hang of it, and I have to say it's very easy. Just make sure that you only use very little of the product. See, I just scooped out a little bit earlier, and I still have a lot of it here at the back of my hand. Okay, so a little bit goes a long way. And I also prefer to use very airy brushes for this. So like the sheer buffer brush from Sonia G is a favorite of mine when using this particular product. Or I can even use any of the FO series brushes from Chikuhodo. But so far, it's a sheer buffer brush for me. Okay, alright, so that's it for my vlog for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed me showing you how I use the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder Blush. No, Flushed. Oh my god. What a long name. My dyslexic mind, like, you know, went haywire just a little bit over there. Okay? Alright, so again, if you have any more questions, please leave them down in the comments box and let's have a conversation about it. Alright? Okay, so that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye.